Tonight, I want to tell you a story unlike any other. A story about a place that doesn't exist on any map. A place that only appears when someone feels lost, or stuck, or unsure about their life. A place called the Midnight Library of Forgotten Paths. This isn't just a library, it's a doorway to the version of you that might have been, the choices you could have made, and the peace you never knew you needed. So breathe slowly and let the story carry you into sleep. There was a young man named Fluffy. He wasn't unhappy, but he felt like life had become confusing. Every day looked the same. Every goal seemed far away, and every choice felt uncertain. One evening, after a long walk through the quiet streets of his town, Fluffy realized he had wandered farther than usual. The night air was cool. The lamps flickered softly, and he felt a small heaviness in his chest, the kind that appears when your mind holds too many unanswered questions. He whispered to himself, "I wish I knew what direction I should take." And in that single moment, the wind changed. Fluffy looked up. Where there had always been a blank stone wall, now stood an enormous wooden door, tall, carved, and glowing faintly with golden lines. He stepped closer. The carving shifted softly, like the door was breathing. He saw symbols, old maps, stars, and faint drawings of people walking along paths that split into thousands of directions. A small bronze plate above the handle read, "For the lost, the searching, and the curious." Before Fluffy could question it, the door slowly opened on its own. Inside was a vast library lit by warm floating lanterns. The air smelled like old paper, cedar wood, and calm. Shelves spiraled upward higher than any building he had ever seen. Books were everywhere, stacked, floating, sliding gently along invisible tracks. But the strangest part was this. Every book had a little written in glowing letters, and many of them had his name on them. "Your life," a voice whispered behind him, "contains more paths than you can see." Fluffy turned. Standing behind him was an old man with soft eyes, a peaceful face, and a robe that seemed woven from starlight. "I am the keeper of paths," he said. "Everyone who feels lost eventually finds their way here." Elias asked, "What are their books?" The keeper smiled. "These shelves hold every choice you could have made, every journey you almost took, and every version of you that still exists in possibility." He placed a gentle hand on a book glowing brighter than the rest. "This one," the keeper said, is calling for you tonight. Elias touched the cover. The moment he did, the library faded, and he found himself inside a memory, but not one that had ever happened. He was in a different city, living in a small studio apartment, pursuing an artistic dream he had once abandoned. He saw himself painting late into the night, creating things he had always been afraid to show the world. He felt the emotions of that version of himself. The joy, the struggle, the freedom, the fear, and the quiet pride of following a dream, even when no one believed in it. The vision faded gently, like smoke drifting into a quiet morning. The second book opened itself without warning. Now Elias saw a different version of himself. One where he had chosen stability, comfort, a quiet job with predictable days. This version wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't fully alive either. He watched himself smile politely, go home early, eat dinner while scrolling on his phone, and fall asleep wondering whether life was supposed to feel like almost. Elias felt a familiar ache, the ache of wondering, what if? The vision dissolved slowly. The next book glowed brighter than all the rest. As it opened, Elias found himself in a life where he had believed in himself fully. He saw a version of him traveling through mountains, meeting new people, helping others, building something meaningful. This Fluffy was confident, calm, and purposeful. Not because life was easy, but because he trusted himself. He had learned how to keep promises to himself, small ones every day, that slowly built a life he admired. Elias watched in silence, wishing he could speak to this version. The library returned. Fluffy stood trembling slightly, not from fear, but from understanding. I don't know which path is right, he said quietly. The keeper smiled. No one does. There is no perfect path. There is only the path you can choose without intention. He placed the book in Fluffy's hands, a blank one, completely empty. This, the keeper whispered, is the future you can still create. It is unwritten. It listens to you. Fluffy ran his fingers over the empty pages. They felt warm, alive, as if waiting for a story to begin. The keeper led Elias to the giant wooden door. Whenever you feel lost, he said, just remember, the path becomes clear when you take the first step, not before. The library lights dimmed, the door opened, and Elias stepped back into the quiet night. The door disappeared behind him, as if it had never existed, but the blank book remained in his hands. A reminder, a promise, a beginning. As Fluffy walked home, the town felt different. Not because anything changed, but because he changed. The heaviness he carried earlier now felt lighter, his thoughts clearer, his heart steadier. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't afraid of choosing wrong. He understood that any path he walked with intention would eventually become the right one. He placed the blank book beside his bed, lay down, and let his mind drift into peaceful sleep, knowing tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow would be his. And now, as you lie here, listening to this story, I want you to imagine your own library, your own book, your own unwritten pages. You are not late. You are not lost. You are simply standing at the beginning of the next chapter of your life. Breathe. 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 Drift. Drift. Slower. Slower drift. Almost without any notice. Drift. Now rest. Endlessly rest. Just rest. And let sleep take you gently. Good night. And may your next path be the one you choose with peace.